This is the heartbeat, guys. Our product. I actually lead by the product personally. That's my first conversation because in my mind, it's all about health for me. It's about getting people healthy. Look, everywhere I go, I'm making sure I have my red drink, green drink, or some kind of drink to give me that feel good. Because guess what I know? If you feel good, you will do good. You will have that natural energy. You will have what it takes that other people really want from you. They want to take that energy. They want to know, why is it that you always got this energy? You're never tired. Believe it or not, I do get tired, but this right here makes me feel so good that it makes me push myself. So I have my super greens, my super reds. I got my collagen mixed in this right now, and I have a combination of things. And guys, this stuff you want to get in you. So again, product training call. Get to learn about your products. Get on here, get on that Monday training at 12 p.m. Eastern. If you can't get on there because you're at work, we have the recordings. Make sure you get the recordings. They're on YouTube. Okay. Also, there's a Thursday night cutoff time. The Thursday night cutoff time is for all of your pre-enrollees. Ben does an excellent job of closing all of our prospects. Get them on that call. Ben and Nada as well. Then we have the Friday fire starter calls. They start our week off, guys. And if you was not on that fire starter call yesterday, I highly recommend get on that. You gotta get to that recording. That recording, oh my goodness, I must say, every last speaker on that call was fired. They bought the fire. I was so fired up. I'm still fired up, and now I'm more fired up because one of those speakers, Josh and Brittany, that I'm bringing up here next, they bought that fire on that fire starter call, guys. So I want you to now get your pen and your pad.
Recording in progress.
Let's get to hear exactly everything that they're going to bring to us. And not only just listen, but when you get off this call, go back over your notes and really see how much you have comprehended so you can expand on what they're saying so we can go out and apply it. With that, I'm going to bring up Josh and Brittany. Can you hear me?
We can.
We can.
Awesome. I love them smiles.
Thank you so much. Man, I'm excited. And one of the things I love about these Saturday morning calls is because for me personally, it feels more like kind of sitting around a room and just having a conversation. And I'll tell you, some of the best training nuggets that I've gotten in this space have been when I've just been sitting in a room with people who have more experience, who have had more success, whatever, and just getting nuggets from them. And learning. So I love these Saturday morning calls because instead of like a training, to me, it feels like we're all sitting in a room and we're just having a conversation. And that's also kind of how Brittany and I prefer to train anyways. We just more so talk. So with that, there's a couple things I want to talk about today, and Brittany's got a whole plethora of notes, so I'm excited. She's way cooler than me, so when she gets on fire, it's better. But number one is, when you present yourself, is it with passion? Are you excited about what you have your hands on? Are you excited about what you're doing? Or is it kind of a boring thing as you're presenting yourself to people? And I say that because that's probably one of the most important factors as to if people are going to listen to you. And here's the deal. Sometimes they might think you're crazy. They may think you're the crazy LiveGood person or whatever, but passion, it attracts people. Something about confirmed speaker language, Spanish. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. I'll just hit save. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I hope I didn't just turn into Spanish. Anyway, a thing just popped up. But anyway, and I'm totally ADHD, so forgive me. But so your passion, when you're passionate, you're going to attract people. There's a saying out there that you don't have to advertise a fire. Why don't you have to advertise a fire? Because everybody talks about the fire. Like if there's a fire in town, you don't need to put it on the news because everybody in town is telling everybody about the fire, right? So you don't have to you don't have to advertise the fire. You don't have to promote the fire. When you are on fire, when you become the fire, people start to talk about it, right? And when you become the fire long enough, everybody knows about it, right? And so I genuinely believe that one of the biggest things that has led to Brittany and me having success is for me at least, is definitely passion. Because a lot of times I haven't done it right. I haven't like I've messed up a lot along the way. I've done a lot of, I say stupid things sometimes, but I needed to do those things to learn through. Right. So if you have done things that you're like, man, why did I do that? Like, it's okay. It's okay. Kick rocks and make dust, right? You got to learn through. You got to do things. You got to do things that will cause you to learn, cause you to mess up, cause you to fall down and get back up and walk. That's just part of it. But look, the great thing about LiveGood is you're not in this thing for hundreds or thousands of dollars a month to stay in, right? You're in it for $10 a month, or like $8 if you do the year, right? So it's not like you're in this thing for a bunch of money to try to figure it out. You're in it for very minimal as you're figuring it out. So it's okay if you mess up. You don't have to have it perfect. You don't have to do it exactly like I do it. You don't have to do it exactly like Brittany does it. Me and Brittany are very different people. How we build is very, very different. I'll tell you that. You don't have, but as you are eventually going to have to find your groove, right? And what works for you. I was just talking with somebody the other day about this, and I build very different than they build. And I'm more of an organic. I've gone through my system. If anybody doesn't know it, you can go to buildlg.com. I have it laid out. It's absolutely free. That's not branded to anyone. There's nothing to pay for. It's absolutely free. Buildlg.com. I have the system that I utilize laid out step by step. And that's how I build. It's very organic. But that might not be the build for, maybe that build may not work for you, right? Maybe there's other ways, other things you want to do, you want to figure out, that's okay. That's okay. Finding your groove, being passionate about what you're doing. If you have passion, it's going to ultimately lead, you're going to find your way. You're going to find your way. Something I wanted to talk about was the sacrifice always comes before the success. The sacrifice will always come before the success. The success never comes first. Like, I mean, think about this. That's the thing. A lot of people will have the mindset of like, man, I want to be whatever your goal is, right? But don't want to do the sacrifice. Like, imagine that in the gym. That's a great analogy, especially since we are in the nutrition space. Imagine if you wanted abs, but you didn't want to go do ab workouts in the gym, right? That would be silly. Imagine if you wanted to be able to successfully run a marathon, but you didn't want to train for the marathon. That would be absolutely silly, and everybody would think that's crazy. And we know that's crazy. But in this space, for some reason, people say, man, I want to have the success, but I don't want to have the sacrifice. And thankfully, again, in LiveGood, the sacrifice is not like some crazy investment, but there's still an effort sacrifice. There's still a learning curve sacrifice. There's still, and something I really want to talk about is getting around the people. Right, this Saturday morning call, it's vital for plugging into this is absolutely vital, because you're putting yourself around people that can. I'm scriptural. A lot of things in my life are based around scripture, so it is what it is. If you get that from me, but Proverbs 27:17 tells us, "As iron sharpens iron, so does one man sharpen another." Right. And so with that being said, when we put ourselves around people, that's going to rub off on us. Right. And so I say that to say, let's talk about Vegas. Vegas is a big sacrifice, can be a big sacrifice. I don't consider it a sacrifice. I consider it an investment. And what I mean by that is because it's an investment in my future. So when Brittany and I first got started in this space, it was January of 2015. And we had the company that we joined, it cost $2,400 to get started. We knew nothing. I was a police officer. She was a 911 dispatcher. We had 3 kids. Our kids were much younger back then. Now they're almost 20, 18, and 14, almost 15. So, but our baby was not even he was in kindergarten back then. And so that being said, we were just looking for something. And so when we got started, we spent $2,400 to get started. We all because I made a post in a group called Cop Brothers, right? And some guy said, check out what I'm doing. And it gave me at least some hope because I had nothing else, right? LiveGood didn't exist back then, right? So it gave me some hope. And I was like, man, all right, I'm going to do this thing. I put it on a credit card, didn't have the money to do it, but I was like, I got to do something because if I don't do something, nothing's like we've been struggling forever. I did everything I was supposed to do. I went to college. I got a degree. I'm a former foster kid from Southern Illinois turned police officer who broke the statistical what I was supposed to be in prison on drugs, all those things as a foster kid. I pursued law enforcement. I did what I was supposed to do. I have a wife. I have 3 kids. I did what I was supposed to do. And I was 30 years old looking at my life like this ain't working. And so I decided, all right, we're going to do this thing. I put $2,400 on a credit card. The guy who's helping me, he's a complete stranger, 6 hours away over the phone. He's helping me. We didn't even do Zoom back then. It was all 3-way phone calls. I didn't even know what the guy looked like. I barely used Facebook back then. And so I'm talking to him over the phone, and we're about 3 or 4 days in, and I'm talking to him every single day, right? And that's another tip right there I'll share with you. One thing I've noticed is the people that excel the most, always, the people who are excelling the most on my team are always the people that in most communication with me on my team. It just always is. So hunt your leader. That's a tip right there. Hunt your leader, whoever that may be. It may not be your sponsor. For example, myself, my leader was not my sponsor. My sponsor was some guy from a Facebook group that saw me in a Facebook group and connected me with my leader when I first got started in this space. But the people who do the best are always the ones who are, especially when new in this space, are the ones who are connected to me or their leader or whoever. So that's a tip if you are like, hunt your leader, bug them. That's what they're here for. Don't feel like, oh, I don't want to bother them. No, bother them. That's what they're here to do. They're here to help you. But so back to what I was saying. So when we got started, $2,400, get started, talking to my mentor on the phone every single day. And he says, we're about 3 or 4 days in. And he's like, Josh, do you really want this? And I'm like, man, I do. Like, I do. I need to make $500 a month. Like, that's what I need. I need that. And so he's like, well, Josh, if you really want to have success here, if you're serious, then what you need to do is you need to get to this big event. It's in Des Moines, Iowa. Now, mind you, this was January of 2015. I live in Southern Illinois. Des Moines, Iowa is about 7 or 8 hours from me. And it was snowing, right? It was a major snowstorm. I also worked at the sheriff's department that my wife also worked at, the same sheriff's department, midnights. I worked second shift at the sheriff's department. And I said, oh, okay, well, when's this event? And he says, well, it's in like 5 days. It was like, I think January 10th. This was like January 3rd or 4th that he said that. We got started on January 1st. It was like January 3rd or 4th. And he said, oh, January 10th in Des Moines, Iowa. And I'm like, what? I can't do that. I got a 10-day notice at work. If I turn in a personal day or vacation day, I gotta give at least a 10-day notice. Me and Brittany would both have to, we don't have time. We had every excuse in the world that we didn't have the money. We just put $2,400 on a credit card. We couldn't afford to go up to Des Moines, Iowa. We had it was snow. There's snow everywhere. And that was further north. We had every excuse. It was short notice for childcare. Her parents lived an hour away from where we were. So there's just a number of excuses. And I say excuses because they are excuses while they're very valid, and they can be very valid excuses. That doesn't, just because I call them excuses doesn't mean that that's bad. They might be very valid, and they were valid. But the reality is the obstacles in life are not there to keep you out. The obstacles in life are there to keep out those who aren't willing to do what it takes to overcome the obstacle to get where they want to go. And so with that, Brittany and I made the commitment. We ended up calling in sick, both of us at the same department, mind you, calling in sick. driving up to this event. We were 10 days into this new business that we had just put $2,400 into. We had to get, back then there was no Airbnb. We had to get the most expensive hotel room because everything was already booked up. We bought these tickets to go to this event. Obviously food, gas, all these things, right? It was all a big investment and big expense. And so I can tell you right now, with confidence, had I not done that, had I not been there, I would not be sitting here talking to you today. And here's why, because when I went to that event, there was a guy that spoke at that event that he was a Nebraska State police officer. He used to be a Nebraska State police officer. And I'm a deputy sheriff sitting there in this event, watching, listening to him on stage. And he shared his story and he told me how he did it. And he told everybody, there's like thousands of people there. And he said how he did it. And I looked at that guy and I said, if that guy can do this, little old Josh Cross from Southern Illinois, who's a deputy sheriff, can do this. If that guy can do this, I can do this. He was a state trooper and I'm deputy sheriff. He ain't no different than me. I can do this. And so I just said, all right, I'm going to figure out a way. And I hadn't even started doing anything yet at that point, to be honest with you. I was like ordering business cards and doing like ordering a banner to hang in front of our house. And I was doing stuff, but it wasn't anything that actually moved the ball down the court, right? I was just doing busy stuff at that point. And so after that, I came home from that event and I remember, actually before I even got home, I started like using the system that we utilized. And back then it was like three-way phone calls and things like that. But I started using that system and pounding that stone with the system and just planting the seeds. And I say that to say all this. That event gave me enough belief, also gave me enough connections, because that same guy that I was working with just over the phone, he drove to that event too, and I got to meet him, give him a hug in person, and that connection that was made gave me enough trust to work with this total stranger, mind you, who ultimately became a good friend of mine, and he's actually, sadly today, they're actually out of the industry now, but nevertheless, that being said, if it wasn't for the sacrifice that came before the success, that was huge sacrifice. If it wasn't for that sacrifice, I'm telling you with confidence, we would not have had enough gas in our tank to push through, because the next 90 days was not easy. I'm going to tell you, I had so many people make fun of us. But had we not been in that room, I would have quit. I would have quit. I would have been out of the game. We would not have had enough gas in our tank to do what it takes to get through the struggles. So it's absolutely vital to be intentional about plugging in and being willing to make the sacrifice. And I know that there's reasons, there's excuses, there's obstacles, but really ask yourself, like, is this an obstacle I can overcome? Or is this an obstacle, or is this a real obstacle? Is this an obstacle I'm creating because I want to choose the easy way? Or is this a genuine obstacle? And most of the time, it's an obstacle. If we're given the easy option or the hard option, we're almost always going to pick the easy option. The problem with picking the easy option, back to the gym analogy, if we have the option of, you know what, I can watch a fitness instructor on TV or I can work out in the gym, right? If we obviously watch the fitness instructor on TV is a lot easier than working out in the gym. But watching the fitness instructor on TV is not going to get us the results we ultimately want, right? We're going to have to do the hard. But if we choose the hard now, things will be easier later. Whereas if we choose the easy now, things will be harder later. And so I say all that to say, just being intentional about saying, you know what, I'm going to make myself do the hard. And over time, the hard really becomes the easy. It's like lifting weights. I like to use that as an analogy because it's such a simple analogy. You know, in the beginning, it might be like, man, these weights are hard. But over time, it's like, oh, that same weight that used to be hard to me is actually super easy. And the same applies to building a business. Another story I'll share with you in the last minute champions is some of the top leaders on our team in this business that we had were, so I met them at an event. We're about a year and a half into this business. I met them we had just done a local event, me and Brittany, we were speaking at this local event. There was about, I don't know, 40 people there. It wasn't a huge event or anything. And this new couple had just gotten started. And this couple, they knew nothing about the industry or anything, but they wanted to talk to us after the event. And then they said, they wanted to do this. They wanted to have success. And I said, well, this was a Monday night, this event was. That weekend, that upcoming weekend, was the national convention for our company, which was, we live in Southern Illinois, and that was in Dallas, Texas. So it was about 11 or 12-hour drive. And they said, man, we want this. And I was able, just like my mentor did with me, I was able to speak with strength and say, hey, look, if you guys really, really want this, you've got to be at this event. You have to be in Dallas, Texas this weekend. They're like, what? Are you kidding? Like, we can't do that. Like, it's this weekend. And I said, man, if you really, really want this. And they made the decision and they got there. They ended up going that weekend, and they went on to be some of the top leaders on our team, and just absolutely soared. So again, I would highly encourage you to, in everything you're doing, really ask yourself, am I choosing the hard, or am I choosing the easy way out? And that's something for you to ask yourself. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about, and then I think I'm going to pass it over to Mama, is the hype build versus the real build. And so in one of the very special things about LiveGood is not a hype build, right? We don't hype up like our product is made from the Himalayan mountains and blah, 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 blah. We're just not a hype build. Yes, there's some exciting things about LiveGood. There absolutely are. But LiveGood is not a hype build. LiveGood is a very consistent, stable, solid, real build. And what I love about that is because in our previous ventures, what we saw was everything was contingent upon hype. And what I mean by that is whenever there's a big promo or there's a new product that's coming out, that's when we see our paycheck go up. But then whenever that hype passes, then our paycheck plummets, right? And so then we got to find the next hype thing. And the problem with a hype build is that our business is contingent upon a hype build. Whereas in LiveGood, we offer such true value, genuine value to people. Brittany and my monthly check has continued to grow month after month after month after month. Our check has continued to grow. Whether that be a little bit or a lot, our check has continued. We haven't seen our check just plummet, right? Whereas in any other thing, it would be like, this month it's good, this month it's bad, this month, because it's all contingent upon the hype. Whereas again, in LiveGood, it's a real business model, a real business build, like a real business should be, right? And so with that, the downside, if you will, to that is that a lot of people want that hype. Like they almost feel like they need that hype. And so when hype happens over here, it can be easy to allow that hype to interfere with logical thinking, with rational thinking, right? And keep our focus on the focus, because it's like, man, yeah, but this is so exciting over here, but it seems like the exciting things are happening. People are making big money, blah, 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 all this stuff. And it can really cause us to get off track and off focus. I compare it to and this might not be the best analogy, but if my marriage is good and all that, and things are going great, and then I was to allow some woman to distract me, some pretty woman who looks beautiful, and I'm like, oh, and she gave me attention, and I allowed her to distract me from my marriage, I would then feel like my marriage wasn't that great because that distraction was in the way. And then when that obviously didn't work out, right, I would be like, man, why did I mess up my marriage? right? And so I see the same thing in this industry, that people are often driven by hype. Like they want that, they have that, and they allow those things to distract them from thinking logically. The great thing about LiveGood is, if you think about LiveGood from a logical standpoint, logical, step away from any kind of emotional decision, any kind of, excitement or anything like that. Even when LiveGood's exciting, step away from that in your mind and really allow yourself to say, okay, rationally, is LiveGood a good thing? Nobody gets hurt in LiveGood. I never have to worry about feeling like I'm scamming my friends or family or getting them into something that's not a good thing. I know that I'm offering them value. Does LiveGood make sense? Absolutely. So whenever I remove the hype goggles, LiveGood's the only company that I've ever seen that genuinely offers a value proposition without the excitement, right? Now, the problem is it's easy to get lost in the excitement whenever, when in this space, when other things are exciting, it's like, oh yeah. But I look at every other thing out there that Brittany and I have seen, been part of in the past 9 years. And as I look at it through the goggle, I don't want to say goggles, the glasses of logic, I think, you know what? The only thing that drove that was hype. It was all only driven by hype. Like, if you just take it on, if you look at the business model on, or the value proposition on black and white paper, you put it, you look at it black and white, like it was not a good thing. But when you implemented the hype, it was like, oh yeah, this is awesome, blah, 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 blah. Whereas LiveGood's exactly the opposite. Yes, there's hype things there's fun things, there's exciting things, but you remove all that. Forget all that. And that right there is what tells you that your business can last and be sustainable. Because on black and white paper, when you put it down, it's like, no, this is a genuine value proposition. It genuinely makes sense. And so I encourage you, really, just as you're building, just because, and I say that to say there's a lot of, and the reason I say that is because there's a lot of doubts that can get in our way along the way. There's a lot of self-doubts that we can allow to get in our way. And so we have to be willing to resort back to like logical thinking and say, you know what? This is a great value proposition. This is a great thing. And that's ultimately, for me, what keeps me going beyond the excitement factor, beyond when the excitement dies down. And that's what keeps me disciplined, because excitement will only motivate you temporarily, where discipline will drive you continuously. So with that, that is everything I had. It's time for my better 90% to show us why she's awesome.
I don't really have that many notes. I think he thinks I have a lot of notes, but I was just gonna say, I guess off of that, a little bit, I guess maybe a different, I definitely don't go off of hype. I love that LiveGood doesn't have hype. If you come to Vegas, you're gonna realize that it's not on hype, right? It's not going to be like this rah hype session, and we're going to try to get you to do something or sell you something or anything like that. It's going to be heart. It's going to be belief. It's going to be everybody that is there pouring into each other. So it's going to be totally different than if you've been in another company. This event is going to be totally different than any event you've ever been to, because LiveGood is different. But I was going to say, don't make irrational decisions in times of momentum. Okay. Tim talked to us, he came up, was talking to us about a bunch of things this past week before we got on this call. And some things that came to mind was that, basically, a lot of people, like they get into this momentum, right? And LiveGood is very stable. Like Josh said, like we hit a rank and we almost always continue to stay at that rank and continue to build. But you can't just hit it and just take your foot off the gas, right? And just say, I'm never going to do it ever again, right? You can lose a rank if you just do nothing. But that's, not something that usually happens here. But it is something that could happen if you just was like, oh, no, I'm done, But the thing is like a lot of people get, I guess, get mixed up in their own hype, and they start, wanting things and, spending a bunch of money and all that stuff. Like they hit these higher ranks, right? And they buy the fancy cars and the big houses, and they get all, like all into this momentum that they have, realizing that that's not always going to be there, and it's not always going to be, it's not something that everybody can attain. And so they're going to start to lose their audience doing those things, right? Josh and I have always tried to keep things very simple. We've always go back to what we truly, came to this industry for. We always reevaluate our why, all of those things, to kind of try to keep ourselves humble, right? It doesn't matter how much money you make in this world, right? If you don't have people around you and you're not pouring into your passions and helping people. So for us, we always go back to that. And so we're not going to be the people, you're never going to see us, showing flashy things and doing all that stuff, because we always want to be relatable to everyone that we're around. And so a lot of people do that, and then their audience, people are still going to follow you. Like if you are doing all the fancy stuff, right, and your mindset shifts and you're posting all of these things on Facebook, and it's, this high life and like all that, people are still going to follow you, but they're not going to be inspired by you anymore. And so then your audience is going to switch. There's going to be your followers, and they're not going to want to be with you, right? They're not going to want to join the mission with you, because they're not going to feel like they can do what you do, because you're not making it relatable to them.
That's good.
Right? Most people, Ben said it. We were on the Friday call yesterday. So if you're on there, we were very excited that Trisha hit diamond, and we have all these diamonds in the company, and it is an amazing thing. But not everybody comes to LiveGood to be diamonds, right? Most people come to LiveGood to make $300 to $500 a month. And we need to make sure that we're always there for those people. It's great. The people that want to hit diamond, they're going to hit diamond, right? You're going to have that ambition. You're going to go for it, even if there's no's and all those things, right? Because you're going to have that desire. But we're here for the people that just want that breathing room in their life, right? That's what Josh and I always go back to. That's what we wanted when we got into this industry. We never, ever thought that we would ever quit our jobs, that we would be traveling and doing all the things that we do and spending every day together. We didn't know that. We didn't think that. That was, we couldn't dream past the next day half the time. But for us, we needed, right, that $300 to $500 a month. We needed that extra breathing room, that truck payment. Heck, the grocery bill, all those things that people are struggling with when they go to bed at night. Those are the things that we need to be helping people with. And those are the things we need to continue to be relatable to other people, because that's how we're going to bring people into LiveGood, right? We're going to be the difference, right? To be the change that this industry needs, to going back to the basics, when this industry was created long, long ago, when it was just helping people be able to get by. Not about all the fanciness. Like this industry completely pivoted to, like how much money can I make and all these fancy things. And that's not what it was created to be. And so LiveGood is a way to bring it back to the simple, bring it back to the people that just want the small things, right? And then I also wanted to talk a little bit about Vegas. I'm excited about Vegas. I love events. It's like one of my favorite things, because we love to be around people. If you haven't noticed, we're very passionate. We seem to be pretty energetic people. On Zoom, we are not as energetic. I know you probably think that we're energetic and we're, smiles and all that, but when you meet us in person, we are way beyond that. A lot of people tell us, oh my gosh, I loved you on Zoom. And then they meet us in person. They're like, wow, like we want to see you guys in person more often, because it's a different feeling, because being in person with people is a different feeling. I get that you guys probably can feel our passion and our heart, and it's an emotion, but in-person emotion is so much different. The connection is so much different. And so being in Vegas is definitely something I can't recommend anymore. Like, be there, figure out a way, get with one of the leaders that are on the flyer. Like, we will help you figure out a way to be in that room. Like, there is a way, right? We can break down, what you need in cost. We can help you share rooms with people. All of those things, like find a way to be there. I promise it'll be worth it, even if you're sleeping on a cot or on the floor or any of those things, or if you're just flying in, you know, for 24 hours, whatever it takes, it will feed that belief in you to continue to soar past this, right? For us to, you know, be that you know, nation, that the people of LiveGood to continue. We're only 1 year in, right? And I would say, if you're international, okay, I know that there's a lot of international people on this call. I know that you might not be able to get to the event, right? You're having your own events in different places. If you have somebody in the US on your team, invite them to the Vegas event. Connect them with somebody that's going to be there. We will take care of your people. We are all LiveGood, right? It doesn't matter whose team's on what. Like if you have people, you need to get them in the room. Even if you can't be there, we will take care of them. We will help them. We will feed into them. We will train them, all those things so that your team can grow, even if you can't be there in person. So still promote it if you're in another country and you can't. We have people like in South Africa. I know they really want to be there. They're not going to be able to be there, but they're going to invite people there, right? Because that's the whole point, is growing, right? This is going to be the biggest event that LiveGood has had in the United States. And it's going to be, I mean, it's going to be one of those that we're going to think back on and look back on 5-10 years from now. You know, I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, that event at that time we felt like was huge, and it's going to be small, right? Because, but I mean, I know that feeling, right? I've seen growth in companies, and I've seen growth in events and all those things. So I know it's possible. And then also, I was just going to say, we are only 1 year in, you guys. It's 1 year. And I mean, don't take your foot off the gas. Like, we're on a mission. Like, I get some people are just in this for just a little bit. You know, maybe they're just in this for the products, but those that are in this for the mission, don't take your foot off the gas. Don't look at the fancy, shiny objects. Don't look at the paychecks, all those things. Continue to focus on what we are doing for this industry, what we are doing for people, how we are paying back people who invested in us, in all those other companies that didn't get what they wanted, right? That wanted something and never was able to achieve those things, right? Like, we are in it for them. Like, we need to continue to push forward. You know, I mean, we're just babies in this company. This company is just a baby. We are looking for, you know, where Amazon is and all those things. Like, that is what we can be. And we can all say that we did that together and we are united together. We were the OGs of LiveGood, right? So that's really all I had, I think, unless I have any more on my notes.
Yeah, I want to, Brittany just brought up a powerful topic for me. So what is my driving force in LiveGood? Here's the deal. Brittany and I have been offered to make a lot of money by doing goofy things. We've been offered contracts and bonuses and all the things that companies offer. And my driving factor in LiveGood, Brittany just brought it up, is I owe it to a lot of people that have trusted in me for many years, to pay them back for trusting in me. I owe it to a lot of people to give them something they can believe in, give them something that can give them hope, because there's a lot of people, the reason that we've had the success we've had, there's a lot of people that have trusted in us previously, believed in us previously, and while we've had success, they've been hurt. And it's time for me to make amends. It's time for me to fix that. It's time for me. So there's no amount of money that a person can offer me to go against that commitment. And so when Brittany just talked about that, it made me a little emotional, just because I have a lot of people that have trusted in me, and I'm like, man, I've let them down. And while we've had success, I've let them down because they've been forking out hundreds of dollars a month on overpriced products, or spent $2,400 to get started themselves in something, or and we're garage qualified or whatever it may be. And I've let these people down. And now I am on an absolute mission to go back and fix it. And even if they do nothing, I'm going to build so big and so massive that if they will just stay in here, and I'm not telling you to sit around and wait on spillover, because the truth is spillover ain't going to pay you nothing compared to what this comp plan can pay you. But for me, what I love about spillover is that I can create it for the people that are like, you know what, I'm going to trust you one more time, Josh. You know what, I'm going to give this one more go. And I can tell them with strength, if you'll stay in this thing long enough, if you'll stay here with me long enough, I'm going to build it. I will build this. I want you to come with me. I want you to build with me. But if that ain't for you, that ain't for you. But if you'll just put yourself out there long enough and stay in this long enough, you're going to see checks start rolling in. And I'm going to tell you, I have a buddy who texted me the other day, and he's like, dude, I haven't done a doggone thing with LiveGood, and I got $10 in my bank account. It's like $10.75 deposited in his bank account. He's like, I have not done a doggone thing with it. He said, you weren't lying. I said, I wasn't lying, buddy. I said, thanks for trusting me. I love you. And so where else can you do that? You can't do that anywhere else. You cannot do that. I don't care how much money they offer me to do something else. I don't care what kind of contract or what NDA, non-disclosure agreement. If you guys don't know, in this industry, people offer like bridge contracts. When you're known as a leader in this industry, they will offer you some crazy stuff. And Brittany and I have been offered some stuff to do some stuff.
And we will not accept anything that anybody else can't have.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm not for if the little guy, and when I say little guy, I don't mean it in a condescending way, because I'll be forever. I'm a former foster kid from Southern Illinois. I'll forever be a little guy in my heart. If the little guy can't start exactly like I did and do the same things, and if I got a deal, then they better get the deal too, right? And so we don't believe in that stuff, but yeah, that's what we got.
You guys, I think that, like Josh said, let's be the fire, right? Let's start a fire in LiveGood, right? It's Fire Started Fridays, I mean, that's like the whole theme anyway. Like, be the fire here. Let's continue to just pour gas on the fire. Let's be united in social media, be united in person, be united for LiveGood all across the world. Together, and let's do something good for everyone.
Yeah. Just know the power of one. That's something else I guess I should have talked about today. The power of one. I think too many people miss that. And so in our first company, it was Advocare, for those that don't know. We started in Advocare, and Advocare's they had some issues with the FTC and all that. And so if you know that story, it's irrelevant. But in our first company in Advocare, the top earner ever in the company, here's where this person came from. So the company had got started. It was a couple years in. It was, is a new company. And today, a lot of people have heard of it, right? It ultimately got to nearly $1 billion company, and it was 25 years old. But when it got started, it was a pretty new company. And there's a guy named Mark who was really working his tail off and building that thing and helping. And he had introduced a guy who was kind of a little bit weird, and who had introduced a guy who was a little bit weird. And though sometimes that's cool. It is what it is. We're all a little bit weird in our way, but this guy would show up, this second level guy, he would show up to events. And he would be around Mark, and he never really did anything. And he was involved for about 2 or 3 years. Now, mind you, LiveGood's a year old, guys. So I want you to understand this from a LiveGood perspective as I talk about this. This guy was involved for about 2 or 3 years. And then he was at an event, and he walked up to this man named Mark, who was the top leader at the time in that company. And he said, "Hey, I got a guy. You got to meet him. You got to meet him. He's a coach. You got to meet him. He's just, you know, you got to meet him. He'll kill it." And Mark's thinking, "Man, you've been here for 3 years. What do you, okay, whatever." And Mark's thinking this guy's crazy. And Mark is then introduced to a man, and I'll say his name because I love and respect him. His name's Danny McDaniel, who was an alcoholic football coach in Texas at the time. And he had a drinking issue. He was a football coach, and he met Mark, and Mark, and he told Mark, and Mark, you know, shared his story, and then Danny said to Mark, he said, "I want to make $1 million a month doing this thing." And Mark goes, "I don't even think that's possible," in his mind. He didn't say that out loud. And so he said, and all Mark said was, "Well, I guess we need to get to work." Anywho, Danny McDaniel went on to be the top earner ever in AdvoCare. And the man who introduced Danny ended up dying and willing his business to his son, who, until the downfall of AdvoCare, was making over $25,000 a month, all because of an introduction that led to hundreds of thousands of people. So I say that to say, we're just getting started. Understand that who you introduce, that introduces someone, the top earner ever in LiveGood ain't here yet. They're not here yet. They haven't even been. They might show up. I hope they show up at Vegas, or I hope the person that introduces them. I hope that the story that comes from this is the person that introduces the top earner ever in LiveGood. I hope that their story is this. I hope their story is, "Well, I went to this doggone Vegas thing, and I was scared, and I made myself good. I went there, and I was excited afterwards, and I had to tell a friend, and then they told a friend, and then they told so-and-so, and everybody globally knows who so-and-so is because they're the top earner ever in LiveGood." And it creates such a massive wave of momentum that everyone who decides to get in, plug in, and stay in benefits from that massive wave of momentum. And I hope that that's the story. I always kind of play those things out in my mind. I hope that that's the story, because boy, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? So with that, that's all we got for today. I hope that we brought some value. Again, really, the Saturday morning trainings for us is more of a talk, just from the heart. And we're happy to answer any questions. Anytime any of you guys want to connect with us, we're easy to find on social media. We respond. As long as you don't get weird with us or anything like that on social media, we respond, and we're happy to help. So thank you for go ahead.
If you are coming to Vegas,
Yes.
We want to meet you. We want to hug you. Please come see us, find us, all of that. Let's have lunch, dinner, ice cream. I owe Tim ice cream.
Brittany has a favorite place for ice cream in Vegas, and we can all go. We'll pack the place.
Yes.
All right. Back to you, Desiree. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much.
No. Thank you. Guys, y'all got to drop the fire in the chat. They bringing tears to my eyes right now. Bring the fire. And also, guys, I want y'all to know I come right with Tim. So you owe me ice cream as well. I will be right there. You know, we are like freaking Fred. So you can best believe we're going to have ice cream. But I cannot wait to see you guys in Vegas. You guys get it. And I mean, it really brings so much emotion to my heart, because you guys get the concept. You get it. You mentioned the fact that all we wanted to do is really get out here and just help somebody just get that extra $300 to $500. You know, that could literally save somebody. I saw a young lady out on the, she was across the street, and she was sitting with her kids. She was going over their homework, and she was staying at a hotel, but she didn't have enough to stay at that, at the extended stay. So she was out, trying to get money. And I normally people don't carry money around. I just happen to have some money I just gave it all, to her out of my wallet, because guess what? I have LiveGood, but guess what else I gave her? Of course, I gave her my LiveGood, told her, you got to get in contact with me, because I know I have a good friend that went through this, went from zero and now he's hero in this, and so get with me. So guys, it's real out here. People need what we have. And like you said, Josh, I'm just going to recap a little bit because I want y'all to know I was taking my copious notes, and I hope everybody, you were taking your copious notes. But again, drop the fire in the chats now for Britt and Josh. They did an awesome job. And that's what we want on these calls. And I like what Josh said. Really, we call it trainings. We should call it the talk show because we really just want to have conversations. We really want you to really get to know some of the phenomenal people that are in LiveGood, guys. I mean, a lot of people are coming from different walks of life, and they are bringing it. They're bringing you their hearts, their soul, their stories, and the value. It's not about the glitz and the glamour. Yeah, I've been in this thing since I've been 19 years old, this network marketing thing. Believe me, I've seen it, but I've seen so much hype. And Josh hit it as well. The hype that, everybody just keeps building off hype, that you got to wait to go to the Vegas or to the event just to hear the next hype of what's going to be announced. If you notice, we got new product that have come in that's in the back office. Sometimes we don't even know it's in the back office. That's how Ben brings it. And I love Ben for that because Ben is just so genuine. He's so real. And I just, every chance I get, I say, thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben. He don't even like all that, but because he's just a good guy, y'all. He's good. And I just love it, that we have a great company, and so many people, so many walks of life are going to be in Vegas, guys. You want to get to Vegas. The people that they have on the panel that are going to be speaking, I can't even begin to tell you. It is such an honor and a privilege to be a part of those guys and to literally sit, mingle, and mix, and just to get to know them and hear the value that they're going to bring. I just can't tell you. Get to Vegas, figure it out. And like Josh also stated about the sacrifice, guys, we have to have, it's about the sacrifice. There is no reward if you don't listen. And I don't like to get, too biblical here, but Jesus Christ showed us the biggest sacrifice. God showed us the biggest sacrifice. He gave us the actual example, and all we need to do is learn to follow that example of sacrifice in order to gain. Okay. So with that, he talked about passion. He talked about a system, guys. Before I go back to the system, let me just say passion. Did you hear the passion that is coming from both of them? You felt it on this Zoom. The passion attracts passion. Okay. He talked about a system that he offered to you for free. There's, again, and that's what I love when people get it. They're not here trying to gouge or get anything from you. They want to give you what they have. Anything that I learned new, I'm going to give it to you because I want everybody to succeed. So he said, it's go buildlg.com. I don't know what that is. I've never heard it before, but I'll be there. I'm going to find out because I want to win. And I also want to transfer that to someone else so that they can win as well. He talked about finding your groove. What Brittany and Josh brings to the table. Guess what? You're going to bring something else to the table, but it's all about what you bring. You're not in competition with Josh and Britt. No, you're in competition with yourself. That's who you're in competition with. You're not in competition with me. I'm not in competition with them. Listen, Trish just made diamond. God knows I'm so happy she's on my team. Okay. She surpassed me. I am so happy about that. We all got to find our groove and get to where you want to be. You might not necessarily want to be diamond like Britt and Josh talked about. You might just want to be in this because of the health reasons, because you want to get your health right. Whatever it is, find your groove, but bring it to the table for everybody so that we all can appreciate it. We all need to hear those conversations when we get to Vegas. Okay. Get to Vegas. LiveGoodVegas.com. LiveGoodVegas.com. Put that in the chat, somebody, so that everybody can find Vegas, so we can get to meet everybody in Vegas. He talked about again Everybody getting plugged in. You got to get plugged in. That's part of the sacrifice. Training, plugging in. That GPS Tim always talk about. Get in, plug in, and stay in. That's what GPS stands for. He talked about the iron sharpen irons. Okay, that's in the Bible. Okay, get around each other in Vegas. In order for us to sharpen each other, guess what? We got to be around each other. And I love Zooms, but it's nothing like a face. My mother is a poet and she writes poetry. And she's, and that was one of her poems she wrote. There's nothing like a face. Because again, all this technology, everybody's texting one another. She like, I want to see your face in the place. You got to come over. I don't want you picking up I want to see you. So she wrote a poem. There's nothing like a face. Let's talk about the hunting your leaders. I love that. Hunt your leader. Again, we love our sponsors, but sometimes our sponsors can't take us to the next level, or they might not know necessarily because they're new too. They're new and excited and they're trying to learn just like you. Again, hunt your leader. It's in the back office. You don't have to guess. Go to your back office, which when I say back office, because I know with some new people, sometimes people are like, what? Because I get this all the time. People say, well, what's a back office, Des? Or what's the So that's what is our virtual office that once you get in LiveGood, there is a thing where you log in and it takes you to your own virtual back office and you'll find all those tabs. But again, find who is your sponsor or your leaders and we can take you to the proper trainings to show you all that as well. What else did we talk about? I wrote down some other extra stuff about, I took away from when he had said something about, just discipline. Guys, just we gotta get discipline on everything that we do in life. Discipline is key. Now he touched on something which made me write down that word discipline. But if you somebody that like maybe get up in the morning and you just throw your clothes on a chair, okay, that may be an indicator that you need to start working on discipline. Okay, I'm just giving that as an example. I learned that from one of my mentors years ago. But just throwing your clothes on your chair, it starts right there. Get disciplined. Start hanging your clothes up. Like Kelly always say, make up the bed, okay, before you get out. That's where a lot of little disciplines start, right there. Okay. I see Britt and Josh looking at each other. What y'all? Who does that? Okay. But anyway, people are allowing distractions to happen, of course, because there's this shiny objects. Somebody's in my inbox right now while we were on this call, and they were inboxing me about a shiny object they want me to look at. They don't get it. Okay. Listen, we get it. You can't, I'm not distracted. I have an assignment. Know your assignment. This assignment, LiveGood, has been dropped in our lap, and we only in the US make up 2%. We have not even tapped and even scratched the surface here. We need to do a better job, guys, in the US. Let's get out there and make it happen because there's a lot of people that need LiveGood. Let's get to what, let's see. I think I got, I love this. No egos. Oh my God. The Eagles, guys. There's a lot of egos that's going on. Again, once some people make some money, they want to get out here. They want to just go out here and shine. And then they forget about the little people. They forget about why they even came here in the first place. Why are we here in the first place? And I always like to say this on every call, every Saturday. I want to take advantage of this platform to make sure everybody gets it. Why are we here? Put it in the chats. Put it in the chat. What is the mission? Why are we here in the first place for LiveGood? So that way we can stay relatable, we can stay humble, and we don't have to put our egos in the way. Make this simple. We are here because of LiveGood has created a way for us to get everybody healthy, stay healthy, and not spend a fortune doing it. Also, we have a way that you can earn $300 to $500 if you would like in our company. That's what we're here for. We want to do that. Okay. We are on a mission, guys. I love it. Britt said it best. Don't take your foot off the gas. Okay. Many of us do aspire to get to the next levels in this company because we know how there's so many people. Like I just said, the lady sitting out there with her 2 kids doing, and I've witnessed she's working with her kids doing her. their homework. Okay, there's many people out here that need us. So again, don't take your foot off the gas. Don't stop talking to people. I don't care where you are, talk to everybody. You don't have to necessarily be on social media. Go out there and touch somebody and tell them about LiveGood. Share your link. Share it. She talked about finding your way, guys. And again, make your way to Vegas. Make your way to Vegas. Let's give Britt and Josh a hug. Again, you guys did a phenomenal job. I can't wait to see you in Vegas. Vegas is around the corner, y'all. The blink of our eye, we will be there. We will see each and every one of you in Vegas. I don't know if Kelly is there. If she wanted, because I know
Yeah.
she, and I know the teacher, she
Woo!
got to say something, but was this the bomb.com?
I was trying to write and drink coffee and watch the chat and let people in the room. I'm like, man, give me an extra set of hands.
Thank you so much for all you do, Kelly.
Josh and Britt like brought the heat, didn't they, Desiree? Oh my goodness. Wow. One thing that I took away a lot of stuff, right? But I love when he said excitement will only take you so far. It's the discipline that's gonna last. Yeah. Have you ever seen somebody like run out the gate? They're like, whoa. And then all of a sudden, like, wait, where'd they go? Where, okay, I'm just saying, it's the discipline that's going to take us far, right? Going to take you far. So it's those daily tasks that you accomplish. And that's why I always say I start my day off making my bed. But hey, I'm not here to, hey, Kelly can get to talking. Josh and Britt, we cannot wait to see you both on stage. I tell you, you are a shining example of a couple building this business wild and out on fire. Okay. And I just love seeing you both. I mean, look at those smiles. Oh my goodness. And Britt, you're just so cute. I cannot wait to hug you. And so like, wow. Okay. So, well, I can keep on carrying on. We just gotta, get your calendar out and mark like how many days until Vegas. Like I've been doing, like, I don't want to say your name on my phone. That's SIRI, or she might start talking. Like I've been counting down the days, right? And so just kind of like mapping out. So mapping out, hey, we know, map out financially, map out time wise, map out for your family, your kiddos. So anywho, last time I was in Vegas, I was like, oh, Vegas is no offense if you think differently. It's just not a spot I'm going to take my teenager. So she's going to have to go and like have some fun, like elsewhere. And so yeah, but I'm just saying that's up to you and your family choices. But yeah, map out your plan now. We're gonna have like that Friday night is a VIP all white out party where you all wear white. Okay, we're keeping it there. We'll kind of have some talks of note. It's Friday night is a VIP white out party because that's on the ticket sales page. Okay. And so Saturday is an all day fun training. It's mixed up into like a couple sections, right? And there's a lot of places in the casino hotel that you can grab food, whether it be like breakfast, lunch, dinner. Okay. So then now we're in talks with the casino for a Saturday party. Woo, I couldn't reach anybody yesterday because it's Super Bowl weekend. But so anyways, we have the facility from 8 in the morning till 11 at night. So we might as well maximize, our time, get our money's worth, right? And, so anywho, we will update the site with the agenda very shortly. So with that, yeah. Okay. So I love Desiree talking about our mission, stay healthy, not spend a fortune. We can help a lot of people here. This USA event is our big Shazammy whammy. We see on social media a lot of other countries having big events and blah, 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 blah. And that is so amazing. Oh my goodness, so amazing. Now it's USA time. It's time to put it on the map. It's time to fill up the room. do what it takes to get there, get around the heat. If you want to be a chef, you would be in the kitchen, right? So here's the deal. Let's make it happen. Get to the website, plan out your calendar. Hey, reach out and find a way to get there. Hey, if somebody needs to split rooms, we can help connect people together. I want to hand it back to Desiree, and oh my goodness, Josh and Brett, y'all are a powerhouse couple. Cannot wait to see you on stage. Woo-wee. Okay, y'all start getting your white outfits together, and then I got a feeling, find something with sequins, find something. Yep. Maybe that Saturday night might be a glitzy, right? Okay, so we like to have fun here with Live Good. Nothing is ever dull and boring. No, I always have like a boring classroom. All right, come on, let's go. All right, Desiree, come on, close it. Everybody here, and wow, y'all. Hey, Tina Dodson put together a grapevine event in Texas, a dinner, right? She's scared it's gonna all the people gonna pack out. It's okay. That restaurant wants the business. Okay, so yeah, go ahead. Well, Desiree, I hand it to you. Love you.
Love you too. Thank you for all you do. Thank you guys for you going out there and making sure everything is right for us in Vegas. So I'm looking forward to going to Vegas. I hope to see everybody that's on the Zoom. Again, if you wasn't planning on going, go to livegoodvegas.com. Make sure you get your tickets. The only way you're going to go is if you just got to, again, sacrifice and make yourself go. Go out there and book your ticket. Then that way, you're going to go get your hotel. But whatever you got to do, guys, we want to see each and every one of you there. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up, but I want to open it up so we can say goodbye and send your flowers and your shout outs, your everything. Send it out to Britt and Josh, guys. You brought the heat. And we'll see you back here next Saturday at the same time, 12 p.m.